Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another mixed up Premier Draft, basically Magic Arena's Chaos Draft format with cards from all over Arena showing up in these packs almost completely at random. They are going to be the same sets in pack 1, pack 2, and 3, but it is like 9 or 10 different sets in each pack, like Ikoria, Neon Dynasty, and Ravnica Allegiance and all that. Anyways, we'll get into our pack 1, pick 1, which is a pretty difficult one. We've got Gyre Engineer for some ramp here, but it does tie us into green-blue. Mayhem Patrol's a solid aggressive card for any red deck. There's some decent card draw in blue with Of One Mind and Vivisurgeon's Insight, or the most flexible card, Uncharted Haven, that could help fix our mana whatever we end up playing. I think I want to go with Mayhem Patrol here. I think aggro decks in general should play pretty well between basically every set on Arena, because every set on Arena has a decent amount of just random cheap dorks, especially in red as the most aggressive color, so Mayhem Patrol for a nice aggressive strategy seems like a fine start, and we can follow it up with Skewer the Critics here, which is a nice efficient burn spell. We can cast it for only 1 mana if we've dealt damage to our opponent, or 3 mana is still a fine deal for 3 damage to any target. So I'll take Skewer the Critics here. The Research Desk is also kind of tempting. It's a pretty good card draw spell in red, and red does not get a lot of those, so that's certainly an option, but I'm just going to take the generic Skewer the Critics burn spell first there. Aeromunculus there, that's actually one of the better commons out of Ravnica Allegiance, so if we had started with the Gyre Engineer for the ramp, we'd have a decent start to a Simic deck. So that's pretty cool. But for now, we've got a really good start towards just mono red, because now we can just take a Gitu Chronicler. Not great early in the game, but for 6 mana, being able to get a 1/3 on the board and pick up an instant or sorcery from your grave is pretty good. So being able to pick up our Skewer the Critics and do it again, I like that a lot. We could also push into a second color at this point, primarily white being the one that looks good, with Blessed Light as a fantastic instant speed removal spell. Gets to exile things as well. Plus it hits a creature or enchantment, so that's kind of cool, but I'm going to keep cutting red here and take the Chronicler. Pack 1, pick 4 now. Honey Mammoth is a great way to stabilize later in the game. 6/6 plus you gain 4 life when it hits the board. Just the classic Ravenous Lindworm stats. Arrester's Admonition's a very good tempo play, bouncing an opposing creature and drawing a card if you play this at sorcery speed. I don't think any of these white cards here are going to be particularly good in a mixed-up draft. Don't love the Facet Reader. The Mysterious Egg is definitely not good mixed up. So yeah, it's basically just Honey Mammoth, Admonition, or mana fixing like Manalith or Blossoming Sands. I actually feel like Admonition, more of a tempo kind of card, would go better with the stuff we have so far. It also goes better with the Gitu Chronicler, getting more instants and sorceries into the deck. But this can help us like bounce a big blocker of our opponents while we keep hitting them with whatever random cheap creatures we have. Now we can take a Shivan Fire for another great red burn spell. This is an absolute classic. I've drafted many decks that have had both Shivan Fire and Gitu Chronicler in them. Something you would do a lot in Dominaria draft. Evolving Wilds is pretty flexible, but we could also take a Thrill of Possibility for instant speed card draw, or Startling Development. It's a combat trick that we can cycle away if we don't need it. These are both definitely solid options too, but I'll take Evolving Wilds. Really never know how things are going to go in a mixed up Premier draft, where things are just absolute chaos all over the place. Pick 7 does not look like there's much going on here for blue or red. I don't like any of these cards for either of those colors. We could take Network Terminal for more fixing. It's going to be really hard to get a Nimble Larcenist in there, so I don't think that's the pick. We're only 1 card deep into blue, so if there were a really strong off-color card, we could take that. Cavern Whisperer's fine. Upgrade our Mayhem Patrol to like a 4/4 Menace and make our opponent discard a card instead of a 1/2. This might be fine. Also Biogenic upgrade, but without a guarantee of getting other +1/+1 counter synergies, it's a bit risky. So I'll just take the Cavern Whisperer for if we end up heading into black. Cancel's okay. Spotterthopter's okay. I mean, 4 mana 2/3 flyer, scry 2 when it hits the board. It's actually probably pretty good in this format. I found that flyers in general play quite nicely. There's a lot of just really cluttered boards, really long games in this format at times. So, might just take the flyer here with Spotterthopter, but Shredded Sails would be solid too. Main deckable artifact or flying removal, because you can just cycle it when you don't need it, but I'll take the Thopter towards blue. Alright, I don't think I'm playing any of these. Rendhorn's probably the best one for if we get pushed to red-green over anything else. Could take the Engineer, but we'd have to get completely pushed off of red for that. We're 2 cards deep into blue. Feels way more likely that Rendhorn could make the cut than the Engineer. Although, I guess we could have taken that as a sign that we could get the Aeromunculus back as well, but we can take a Prism here for more very nice, very flexible fixing. But yeah, I guess green-blue as a color pair is definitely open, even if the individual colors are not. So we could have just went Gyre Engineer into Aeromunculus and just had a nice little pivot there. Could have been solid. I think things are still going okay the way that we've got them right now. Got a lot of flexible fixing now. Got a boatload of flexible fixing. Network Terminal, Manolith, Evolving Wilds, and Prophetic Prism. Alright, the 2 mana 2/1 with random ward's definitely better than that one. Shattered States Era could be good too, though, but I really want to make sure that I have tons of 2 mana creatures. So we could have had 3 green-blue gold cards. I don't think I saw a lot of just individual green cards that were super strong. But the blue looked pretty okay, as we can tell by the fact that I'm in blue. And the green-blue gold cards were good, so maybe green-blue was the place to be in our current position. Well, I guess blue's the place to be if we open up a gigantic blue mythic rare, so happy to be in that color at least. We will take this. Not the strongest in like an aggressive blue-red tempo deck, but if we make it to 6 mana, it's still completely busted. We're just not the kind of deck that's consistently trying to make it to 6 mana. Frostlinks is definitely really good for this deck, but I think I still have to just take Mordenkainen.
To maintain balance, bolster the weak.
Now, Burning Hands, 2 mana for 2 to any creature, Planeswalker. Not a good deal, but not a completely terrible one, and if we're playing against green, then this does become a very good deal. So probably Burning Hands. Boreal Elemental is solid, 5 mana 3/4 flying, ward 2. It's reasonable, but I'll take the Burning Hands here. Now we've got a Dragon's Fire for just more great cheap burn spells. We're going to have so many of these, it is going to be fantastic. Could grab a take inventory and just really hope to get multiples, but that's banking on a lot here. Probably Destructive Digger, filler, 3 mana 3/2 creature, or Silver Raven. Flyers again have been pretty good. Silver Raven or the Digger here. I like that the Digger can get us out of any mana flood later. That's pretty nice. We do not have a lot of creatures right now anywhere on the curve, so there's not really like a curve consideration to which one to take because I have like 4 creatures total right now. We definitely don't take Warlock class. And I'll grab another flyer, actually. We'll grab the Silver Raven, even if it's a tiny little flyer. Okay, here's a slightly bigger flyer, a 1/3 flyer, mainly giving us that value of drawing a card when it hits the board, but that is great value. Other than that, maximize altitude for some evasiveness, and Goblin Smuggler to cheat things through is also great, but take the Muse Drake. Okay. Spare Supplies would be some fine card draw, but we can also take the big removal spell, the 5 damage burn spell, and I think I'll take that. With Command the Storm. Shipwreck Moray is kind of just a gigantic wall. flop its power and toughness. You can do that 4 times by itself. That's not bad at all. Take the Moray. Now I could take a Destructive Digger, but I could also take Burning Prophet in this deck that has quite a few non-creature spells. So even if we're not getting aggressive with this card, it can still keep scrying through our deck, which is quite helpful. I'll take the Burning Prophet here as a really good way to set up our draws. Sudden Insight, just a little too hard to get it working super well. Naiad's fine, Digger's fine, but Prophet seems pretty nice for what we're doing here. Our dirtily kind of blue-red nonsense. We got the Frostlinks back. Let's go. That's fantastic. Frostlinks is a super good tempo play. Lock down your opponent's biggest creature for a turn. Helps you get attacks in and helps you not take damage on the crackback. Alright, we get the Boreal Elemental back as well for a hard-to-target flyer. Kind of just like blue-red flyers here. We burn away all their small creatures and then try to chip away with a bunch of flyers to end the game. I like Octoprophet's Scribe. We've got Spotterthopter, that's just basically better Octoprophet. But 5/4 and a 2/1, they're real dirty. I'll take the Octoprophet still. That's about as many 4-drops as I think I'm going to want the whole draft. We've got 4 of them now. So if I get another pick between an Octoprophet and a 2/1 later, just similar power level cards, I'm just going to take the 2/1. Even if I do like the Octoprophet better. In a vacuum, there's a 4-mana 3/3. That's not good. 4-mana 3/3 with no extra abilities, no extra advantage to playing it. Alright, Utility Knife also does not seem good. 3 mana to move that around is just a lot. Alright, pack 3, what have we got? We've kind of already got a full deck, so pack 3 is going to be completely focused around upping the quality, and that is an immediate way to up the quality. Elemental Masterpiece is an incredible card at the top end. 7 mana is a lot, but 2 4/4s out of just 1 card is very, very good. Can often get that game in your favor, so we'll take the Elemental Masterpiece. Definitely sad to be pretty much as far away from white-black as we can be. Not even overlapping a single color for Lysa, Forgotten Archangel, so it's going to be sad to pass her up, but Elemental Masterpiece is a very nice consolation prize. Now we've got a Spellgorger Weird, which should play pretty nicely in this deck. Definitely better than Frenzied Raider. Not going to be activating any boast abilities. Dread Knight doesn't do anything. Horncrest doesn't do anything. Sifters doesn't do much. I guess the Dread Knight technically does, but it's just a big dork. I'll take the Spellgorger Weird here. Or a cheaper big dork. Ooh, Igneous Inspiration, let's go. I doubt we're going to get any lessons. Pack 3 is where there are Strixhaven cards, so it is possible we get a lesson, because almost every one of these packs should have had like 1 Strixhaven card in it during pack 3, the way that these work. But even just 3 mana, 3 to any target, discard a card, draw a card, it's perfectly fine, and that's what this does if you don't have any lessons in your sideboard. So I will take that and just keep having all of the burn in the world. Okay, no lessons in this pack. The Strixhaven cards are Biomathematician and Emergent Sequence. Oh, there's a Seraph's Packmate in here. We're definitely not in that color. We don't have any spirits for the Battleground Geist, so it's just a 5-mana 3/3 flyer, which is fine. But I think we gotta be on like Thresher Lizard instead, not Lizard. Don't know if it's making the cut. Okay, any lessons here? There are no lessons. There's a Skittering Surveyor, but I don't really need fixing. We are just straight 2-color here. Could take the Trebuchet, just sit here and block stuff, ping our opponent for 1 every turn, or the Mistcloaked Herald. Just sit here and ping our opponent for 1 any turn, or every turn without blocking stuff. Invasion of Kamigawa could be fine. Tap and stun a thing, try to flip the Saboteurs. A lot of mana though, we got a lot of 4-drops. Let's grab another 1-drop creature. Scoop up a Mist Cloaked Herald. There are no lessons in this pack. Get to Amplifier for our color pair, seems reasonable. Halo Charged Scab also seems fine. Go for the Amplifier though for the flexibility on when we want to cast it. Drop it down for 2 or kick it for 5 later. No lessons in this pack. It's another 1-mana unblockable creature we could take. I actually like the Magmut a lot. I might take that. 2-mana 2/2 on curve, you just keep jamming it out, and then whenever your opponent has blockers up, then you just treat it like a 1/1 unblockable, you just keep pinging them. Take the Magmut. Befuddler's pretty good too here, but I think Magmut seems good. The extra way to get some damage in, even if your opponent has the board game super locked up, is pretty exciting. Pack 3, pick 8. Probably Ren's Resolve for a bit of card draw. It's like a draw 2, but it's a temporary draw. We have to play those cards by the end of our next turn. As long as you're not running any counter spells, you can play this even if you're in like blue-red. And we're not playing any counter spells, so it should be fine. Worst case scenario is we use this early and hit our 7-drop. But if we use this late and hit our 7-drop, we can still play it the turn after we Ren's Resolve. We don't have to have the mana up immediately. I'm not going to play either of these, but I'll take the Sifters. I don't even think I'm taking or playing Evolving Wilds in just a 2-color deck. Maybe I should, because I'm not playing the mana ramp cards just for an Elemental Masterpiece, and I think that's the most expensive card I'm going to play. I actually like the Frilled Sea Serpent in this format potentially as well, because of its ability to become just unblockable if we get into a board stall position. I don't think I need Prophetic Prism either, so this is probably all my non-creature cards here. And then we're cutting, let's see, 4 creatures to call it a deck. Yeah. This looks like a pretty reasonable pile of cards overall. Go for it. There's a lot of Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, which is very sad. You're going to see a lot of stuff like this just flying around the tables. Because there's just no deserts. We've got 1/10 of a pack of Amonkhet, basically. Might play the Halo Charge Scab, probably not. I don't think any of our instants or sorceries are so powerful that putting them back on top is great. At the cost of running just like a 5-mana 4/4. Let's see, we're at 46 cards. 19 creatures, that is a lot of creatures. Could just cut 6 creatures, go down to 13. Honestly, with this deck, that would be fine with Burning Prophet and Spellgorger weird shenanigans. So I think that's what I will be doing. I don't think any of our non-creature spells are particularly bad, but we've definitely got some filler creatures. So cut 6 things here. Not going to cut any lands, though. I've got a 6-mana Mordenkainen and a 7-mana Masterpiece, potential 8-mana Thopter. So probably, as I said before, Halo Charge Scab. I guess it's good on Elemental Masterpiece if we get really late in the game. Trebuchet's not super exciting. Thresher Lizard's definitely not. Don't love Arm Guard Familiar. The idea of slapping it onto a flyer is fine. Not great. This would be 5 cards getting cut out of here. We'd still want to cut 1 more ideally. This thing's like an absolute roadblock because it can block as a 0/5, a 2/3, or a 4/1, and it can attack as a 0/5, a 2/3, or 4/1. That's so flexible. It feels really good, but I feel like I might want to cut a 4-drop. I guess Octoprofit before the Moray. If I do that. I like the Sea Serpent in board stalls, but I guess our deck probably doesn't end up in too many board stalls. Because we will have a few other flyers. We've got Elemental, Thopter, Musedrake, Silver Raven. And if we end up in a board stall, that just gives us more time to get to an Elemental Masterpiece or Mordenkainen or something. We drop Sea Serpent, Scab, Octoprofit, Lizard, Trebuchet, put one card back in. Guess I'd put the Familiar back in, because it's a 2-power creature on curve that can also then be an equipment for one of our flyers later, so that could help get extra damage in. I think that's a pretty reasonable way to build it. Puts us at 40 cards. 14 red cards, 9 blue cards, so a bit more red than blue. 9-8 split is fine by me. We could even go 10-7, but really want to make sure I always have that double blue anytime we draw into Mordenkainen, so I think 9-8 is okay. We've got no double red cards either. We just need to hit 1 red source to cast our spells. We will want to hit 2 red sources somewhat often so we can play 2 red spells in 1 turn, but I think 9-8 is cool with me, so we will call it a deck there. Alright, here we have a look at our deck list for today. It's a bit of a blue-red spells deck and a bit of a blue-red flyers deck, as much towards those archetypes as you can really get in a chaos draft like this, where we're slightly leaning in on these mechanics, but mostly just a pile of decent cards. So we have the the Burning Prophet that lets us scry every time we cast a non-creature spell to set up our draws, with quite a nice count of non-creature spells, and Spellgorger Weird that keeps getting permanently bigger every time we cast a non-creature spell. So those are the main non-creature, like blue-red spells sort of cards. Then a lot of flyers, Boreal Elemental, Spotter Thopter, Musedrake, and Silver Raven to try to chip in for a lot of damage throughout the game. Other than that, tons of burn spells as removal, as well as a lot of these burn spells being able to shoot our opponent in the face. And some really big finishers with Mordenkainen and Elemental Masterpiece, so a little bit of everything here, the main themes being lots of non-creature spells and some flyers and burns. So see how it all shapes up as we head into the gameplay, see how it does. Here we are for game 1 on the draw. Very reasonable hand here. Burning Prophet into Spellgorger Weird as the plan, really set up the blue-red spells game plan. Could also start with Mayhem Patrol, just in the interest of getting an evasive creature on the board that's hard for our opponent to block, so we can get that Skewer the Critics for cheap later. Also gets more damage in than just starting with the Burning Prophet, and an excellent draw here. Another evasive threat. The Silver Raven for a flyer. Hit a Musedrake here. I think I need lands badly enough to ditch the Musedrake. If I draw that into my hand, I'm on a 2-lander with a 4-drop and a 3-drop. Super sketchy. Let's hit for 1. We're playing against green-blue right now. And we drop our Mayhem Patrol. Waiting to cast Skewer till I have Spellgorger Weird on the board. But skewering the Steward would be fine. But we're just going to keep committing creatures to the board first and then get the Skewer going once we have all of our triggered abilities happening alongside the Skewer. Here's a 1-mana Pixie Illusionist, so they're planning to use that as mana fixing probably. Maybe they just want to trade it into the Silver Raven, but I imagine they're going to use this to make one of their lands the basic land type of their choice and be able to fix for their 3rd color of mana. So we could just skewer that. But I think I still just want to tap out for Spellgorger. Okay, so they are going to take the trade. So they did just want it to trade off into something, so then I feel perfectly fine with not skewering the Mana Dork. If they did something where they just decided not to block with anybody there, then I would be really suspicious they needed that for mana, and then I'd probably play the Familiar plus Skewer instead of the Spellgorger. Let's see. Don't really want to attack into the Steward, but I also don't love just skewering the 2/2 here. So let's just play our other 2 creatures. And then if they play a better creature to shoot down, that'll be great. Perfect. A beefy creature that still has 3 toughness, so we can still use Skewer instead of Command and save Command for a bigger creature later. So this will be beautiful. Skewer the Mauler, scry 1, have a 2/3 and a 3/3 attacking. Get another burn spell that's really good against them because they're green. And we can attack in a way where all they could do is trump here. They can't trade. Beautiful. Put them down to 8. Okay. They are dead on board if this resolves, so I just go for it, I think. Save the command since it can kill bigger blue creatures if that ends up being a thing. They do have a Disperse for Spellgorger Weird, so they are not dead on board, but we're about to draw a way to do 3 damage to their face after this. So they'll still be dead soon. They're going to 2 life, and then we just try to shoot them for 2. They are just going to scoop them up already. They don't have anything to survive 4 creatures attacking them next turn, so we're going to start this draft off 1-0 as we head into game 2. Alright, here we are for game 2. Our opponent is on the play. We've got turn 2 Magmut to get things started. Muse Drake or Shipwreck Moray later. Pretty big fan of the hand. There's Chart a Course, draw 2, discard 1. Their deck's really good so far. I'm a huge fan of Striped Riverwinder. That thing should be pretty busted in this format. 5/5 hexproof is incredible, and that cycling flexibility is great. So far mono blue and all some premium cards. Really nice stuff. And there is the Swamp from our opponent, so they are blue-black, and they're just going to immediately tribute to Urborg. Our 2/2. Well, let's drop our Mayhem Patrol then. Get a 2/2 Menace to maybe stick around. Moonsnare Specialist, well, that's pretty great. Bounce the Patrol and slow us down. What would I rather resolve here? I think I'd like to get the Moray down. It's pretty good against 2/2s. Can attack and block as a 2/3 several times. Tolarian Geyser it back to our hand. Well, then if I replay it again, I'll have 8 energy, and we can really use its ability as much as we want. But I assume they're going to counter it or kill it next time I try to play it. Let's play around the counterspell a bit and drop Familiar plus Patrol. No counterspell. Nothing to hold up there. This is still fine, still using all of our mana and dropping some solid creatures onto this board. Take the 1-for-1 trade here. There's a Halo Forager. Good lord, their deck's good. Halo Forager and get a tribute to Urborg back. No, go for the Chart a Course. Oh, because they attacked this turn, so they get the full draw too. Yikes. Yeah, we are playing against some absolute quality cards. Think I resolve here, try to hit a land so I can do Ren's Resolve and Frostlinks this turn. I guess I don't need to Frostlinks anything right now though, so maybe I just play the Moray again or a Muse Drake. Yeah, we'll just play the Moray again. If I had any other energy cards in my deck, I'd be so happy right now that my Moray got bounced and replayed. 8 energy sitting there. I'm loaded. Soul Knife Spy. We are never letting that thing hit us. Or they will draw a card. Audacious Thief? That draws them a card even if it doesn't hit us. Even if it just straight dies. Frost links the Thief down, probably. And then I have Frost links and Shipwreck Moray to block and kill the Soul Knife Spy, potentially. That gives us time to shoot the Thief with removal. Just drop Burning Prophet. Spark double on Halo Forager? Oh my god. All of their cards are just incredible quality commons and uncommons, and they've got bombers too. Oops. Oh my god, I clicked spacebar because I was trying to skip through their Halo Forager triggers, and I skipped through blocks there where that was the easiest trade with Frostlinks in the universe. Yeah, I mean, maybe we had the tiniest shot to stabilize in the world, but I just took 3 extra damage and let them draw another card for no reason. God dang misclicks. So there's Muse Drake, which can trade into Forager. Yeah, that matters so much. I think I probably just completely misclicked myself out of the game. Because if they don't deal with this Muse Drake, we would have dealt with basically their whole board here. The Soul Knife Spy would be gone. And we can have Muse Drake trade into the Forager. Prophet just blocks Thief, so they could keep the Thief either way. I'd be at 12 instead of 9. I still can't believe I just accidentally didn't trade with the Soul Knife Spy. That's so gross. They have 2 how do you get 2 Audacious Thieves in mixed up Premier Draft? Just like first pick that thing if you're in black. Oh my god. Make 1 dog 5. Not enough. Maybe if I were at 8. Which I should be. Yeah, I guess playing 1 Moray is the same as playing like 1 dog. Should have sequenced that differently, but it didn't matter. I wasn't going to play Spellgorger Weird instead of Shipwreck Moray. Yep. Think we're just dead? Yeah, that's dead on board. Alright. Wow. And they had to still had all these us with Glacial Grasp? Well, that was a brutal game. They had an absolutely incredible deck, and I made a pretty big space bar. Perks of playing Digital Magic punt there. Looks like we were not going to get there in the end regardless, because we would have only had like 3 more life. They would have had 1 less card. But they had 2 tap effects in a row there in the end, one of which scryed, the other drew them a card. So we would have had 0 blockers that turn regardless. And then probably still just die. Maybe it takes 1 turn longer. But that was a pretty frustrating misclick. It's always rough to misclick punt. Super rough to misclick punt when you're already just like so far behind due to just the sheer card quality in your opponent's deck in a random chaos format like this. Where it's like, I don't know what I was supposed to do. My draft pod was not that crazy. Alright, we gotta scry towards red sources here. But I do like having turn 1 Silver Raven a lot. to get things rolling. Playing against Black-White with a turn 2 Nezumi Prowler. 4 blue sources before 1 mountain. We'll have to hold back to trade into Prowler. They've got a Trapper, so every time they play an artifact, a legend, anything like that, they get to tap one of our creatures. Shut off our blocks. Now they might be able to get in here if they cast a Historic Spell. They don't cast a Historic Spell, so they just hit for 3. They don't get the Prowler in. Oh my god. Well, they could have hit us harder if they played that pre-combat. That makes a 2/2 Knight with Vigilance every single turn. That's super bad. We have to just kill that, and I'm just going to do it main phase so I know they can't have interaction for this. Hold the Raven up, so if they don't have another Historic Spell, we get to trade into the Prowler with it. Keep that off of us, just take 3 damage this turn. We will be casting Ren's Resolve next turn to buff the Weird. I guess not if they pacify it. Take our 3 from the Trapper. Drawn to a Mordenkainen if I find land number 6. 3/4 body looks pretty good. This only has Ward 2 against spells. It doesn't stop abilities, so if they have a Historic Spell, then it will get tapped, but if not, this blocks any one of their creatures without dying. I guess if they play an instant or sorcery, they could get that combat trick as well to win that fight. Well, we've just got straight up removal for the elemental, so it is going to get blown up. We take 6 here. Silver Raven's put in a lot of work for us, just stopping Prowler from attacking. It's stopped like 9 damage at this point. Still no mana for Mordenkainen. I can Frostlinks and Ren's Resolve in the same turn, so I think we do that. There's the mana. Now I either Frostlinks or I play Armguard Familiar and Mayhem Patrol. If I don't play Mayhem Patrol this turn or next turn, it's gone forever, so I'll do the double up here. This Girder Goon's fantastic blitz card. Slams in with a 4/4, draws them a card and makes them a 2/2. Just a phenomenal spell all around. If they don't have any instants or sorceries in their hand, they get to keep one of these creatures and clear most of their board, and they don't. Alright, Mordenkainen, please stabilize me. I'm begging. Absolutely begging you right now. We must acquire Doge. Well, this is going to be an easy sacrifice. Goodbye, Spellgorger Weird. Durable Coil Bug, that does not do much. Drawn to a Muse Drake, I can play that and the dog will still be just as big. The dog's not legendary, is it? No, it is not. Okay. 4/4s are perfectly fine, so I will discard a land. Bosri's Acolyte, that's pretty huge. +1/+1 counter on 2 cards. Make the Prowler big enough to trade into a dog. Sure. Ooh, Elemental Masterpiece.
To control.
Need the land to do it, and then I can Chronicler it back? Oh my god, let's go. I'm gonna play around a random flying combat trick, because I think I can afford to at this rate. When I'm about to Chronicler back an Elemental Masterpiece, and I have a Mordenkainen on board. Oh god. Never mind, I guess I have to Chronicler back removal for the Vampire Opportunist. Unless I find it off Mordenkainen here. Because if I don't kill the Opportunist, it's going to kill me in 2 triggers.
I'm reading.
There's an admonition at least. Slow it down. Force them to replay it for a turn. I think I need to just pick up Shivan Fire though. Okay, and the other thing that we need to be worried about... Okay, they're just going to scoop it up. The other thing we need to worry about is their Silver Quill Pledge Mage can jump into the sky whenever they play an instant or sorcery, so make sure to hold back flying blockers. But they're super over it, they're scooping it up, because we're going to be drawing 3 cards a turn. We draw 1 during our draw step, 2 from Mordenkainen's +2, and then just keep making dogs, and Mordenkainen is going to absolutely take over that game, so really good stabilization all off the back of our ridiculous busted Mythic Rare, and we are now going to be 2-1 heading into game 4. Alright, here we have our hand for game 4. Burning Prophet into Spellgorger Weird with some spells to play afterwards. I'm into it. You're going to start sending a bunch of beefy green creatures into the sky with the Zephyr Charge? That looks like the case. Just start playing some 4-mana 4/4s and just sending them in the skies. That's gonna be a problem. 3-mana 4/4s with Trample? That's incredibly not allowed. Okay, we need to find a way to deal with that, and we need to do it quick, and we don't currently have one, so I'm gonna lock that thing down for a second. Oh, yikes. Our deck has little when it comes to killing 4 toughness stuff. We've got the Command the Storm and some stuff. I guess if we just draw 5,000 burn spells, we can load 2 of them up. I can cast Inspiration and Skewer on the Contaminator later. Have to be able to damage my opponent's face to do it, though. Right now, that would require chump attacking, which I don't want to do. Would be a pretty big fan if they sent in the whole team. They're just not going to attack at all. What on earth is this? Two of these are sorceries. I want to be able to make Spellgorger Weird a 4/4 out of nowhere. I have to cast one of the sorceries pre-combat, which does not work well for me. Because I want these to be targeting one of their creatures. I guess I have to just pass then? I guess what I can do is I can play my Mayhem Patrol, because why not? And then I can just Dragon's Fire the Circle of the Moon Druid during their turn. That makes Spellgorger a 3/3. Then I can play one of these sorceries and make it a 4/4, and I can actually attack into the Bloated Contaminator. Because the Circle of the Moon Druid's just an annoying blocker for everybody. I don't have to discard a card to draw a card with Inspiration, which is good because I don't want to discard any of these. So, what is this, Ward 2? It is Ward 2. I can Spend all my mana to kill the tortoise. Or I could attack with a Mayhem Patrol as a 2/2 menace. They could double block. I trade into the tortoise. Or they can not block, and then I can Skewer plus Inspiration the Contaminator. But at this point, with Spellgorger Weird getting close to 5/5 status, I might not need to kill the Contaminator. So... Sure, let's just go... Let's go Skewer the Tortoise. Snap. I'll draw into a Mordenkainen. Ward Scale Crocodile. Hexproofer. That kind of sucks. I can block it with a 2/2 and a 1/3 profit. I don't really want to do that, but I can. What do I want to do here? I kind of want to discard the Inspiration to draw a card, but that's not an option with how Learn and Lesson works. Just cycle the Masterpiece for a treasure token for Mordenkainen next turn. I don't think I'm casting anything right now. Do I need to lock into playing Mordenkainen next turn, or can I get greedy and still hold on to the Masterpiece? 4 Toughness Flyer is an incredibly bad time for me. Now Mordenkainen doesn't even do too much for me, because Mordenkainen's going to die quickly. I guess +2 every turn. Yeah, no, +2 every turn. Mordenkainen is not going to die that quickly. And I would draw into the land when I cycle away the Masterpiece. Well, I can discard it to Inspiration, maybe. I'd rather leave the treasure behind. For a future expensive turn. Okay, so we've got Chronicler for Masterpiece.
Tiny mind couldn't possibly grasp my research.
Don't know that Silver Raven actually helps me kill Specialist. I guess Silver Raven plus Dragon's Fire at instant speed can do it. I kind of want a Chronicler back Masterpiece, potentially. Could be wrong. I'm ditching the Silver Raven, though. We're going to have some expensive turns mana-wise. There's Chomping Kavu. I kind of completely forgot about Zephyr Charge because they haven't been using it, but that is very true. They could make any of their creatures jump into the sky. Okay, so Mordenkainen's dead, or I trade into the Crocodile here. Don't love trading into the Crocodile, but I kind of think I have to.
The entire multiverse is my library.
Inspiration the Kavu, discard a card, draw a card. And scry 1. Digging for some solutions here. They're not quite solutions here. Keep this to make dogs bigger. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to keep plussing Mordenkainen and just casting everything I draw. Oh my god, Vigor Spore Worm on the Specialist to just nuke Mordenkainen? Yep. Yep. Can't be blocked by more than one creature, so I need to get a 4-power creature down. The Boreal Elemental draws good to be able to block Specialist, but because of their Zephyr charge, I can't do anything about a flying 6/4 that can't be blocked by more than one creature, or a flying 4/4 trample. Now we are just going to get Zephyr charged out by some big dorky green creatures. Thundering Chariot with the Specialist to double it up. I don't know how I'm just getting absolutely nuked here, but I definitely am. Rester's Admonition. Slow down that Replication Specialist. Got 8 mana here. If I draw into another land, I can do that and still play Chronicler. Not doing anything great with Chronicler still. I could pick up a Masterpiece, but then I can't play it till next turn anyway. Looking for something. Find a Spotter Thopter, a 4/5 flyer. Big enough to trade into the worm. In the sky. And it can block Contaminator forever. Sure. So I just set up the 5/5 flyer on blocks. Might even send it in here while they don't have blockers up. How much could they hit me for? 10? 13? If they send it all into the sky where I can't block. Let's get the pressure on them. Maybe I can like barely outrace them as the game plan. Chronicler picks up a burn spell to shoot their face or something. Yeah, if they let the 5 power elemental hit them one more time, maybe we do outrace them. But they'll just have the mana up for charge and just charge up a Vigor Sporeworm and trade. But then I play Spotter Thopter, and then maybe try to get that one in. Oh, they're racing as well. Now I really think I can try to crack back for lethal. Guess we'll see what they've got after this. Basically, I'm gonna lethal them now, or they're gonna lethal me. Land off the top, land off the top. Not a land, but not bad at all. If I try to Shivan Fire the special... Oh, this is actually kind of an issue. If I try to Shivan Fire the Specialist, they can crew a chariot and send the chariot into the sky instead. Because I didn't hit a land, I can only Chronicler back a 2-drop, which can't hit something that shoots them in the face. I needed to be able to Chronicler back a 3-drop. No, Skewer. Skewer is 1 mana. Okay, perfect. Because Skewer is 1 mana, I think I can just kill them. Still? Because they should just have 1 blocker. One, two, three, four, 5. Chronicler, that's 6, 7, 8. Find the Skewer the Critics. They have the Into the Royal to bounce something. But since they didn't know about the Chronicler, they didn't cast it till it was too late, and they are going to go to 0. Incredibly close game of Magic there. Incredibly close stuff. We almost got completely smashed in the sky by some 6/4s and 4/4s and stuff with that Zephyr charge in the end, but go for that potential race with the 5-power flyer and do manage to get in there, cheesing in some extra damage with Gitsu Chronicler to bring back that Skewer the Critics out of nowhere. Crazy game. Crazy close game there, and we are now... What are we? 3-1, at least a 50-50 record for this Mixer Premier Draft. Here we are on the play for game number 5. Turn 2 Mayhem Patrol has been putting in a lot of work in all these games, so we'll get that thing down again. Our opponent does have a 1-drop creature, so if they have the Dream Curve, they could go 1-drop creature, 2-drop creature, and then Patrol doesn't get in, and they did go 1-drop, 2-drop, but if they trade into Patrol, we kill their whole board, so we 2-for-1 them here, because they're both 1 toughness. So that feels like a pretty good deal for us, so we'll still offer that, and they will not accept the trade. Let's drop Magmut now. Alright, 1-drop, 2-drop, Cycle a Lay Claim. This card is fantastic. It is 7 mana, but incredible, incredible card, because even if, as you see, you're stuck on mana and you're not going to make it to that 7, you can just cycle it away, and if you do make it to the 7, it does some gross things, stealing your opponent's best permanent and using it against them. Alright, Mayhem Patrol just going to keep getting that damage in, and now a Spotter Thopter to do the same. Keep finding 2 damage a turn, scry out of these lands. I will want to draw 1 to cast Mordenkainen. Yeah, Mordenkainen lets me ditch extra lands, so I'll keep land number 6 here. Because worst case scenario, when I draw a land this turn and next turn, then again I ditch 1 to Mordenkainen's ability. Forbidden Friendship for some 1/1s. Mayhem Patrol is now very sad. It's not going to be doing its thing as well. Magmut will definitely, though. I guess with Dragon's Fire I can still go for it here. Actually, probably should have buffed the Spotter Thopter. And this is why I should have buffed Spotter Thopter, because I would have hit for 1 more point of damage and still killed just as many creatures if they made a block like they chose to do there. Elemental Masterpiece? So now, even if they have like a counterspell for Mordenkainen, we get to have an Elemental Masterpiece once we hit a 7th mana. Okay, now I really don't like our Mayhem Patrol attacks. I guess I can just have it trade into the Veteran. And then they just have to put a shield counter on their 2/2. Not the best. That's fine. Ooh, tap out to run out of town the Spotter Thopter? Sure. Now we know there's gonna be no counterspell here for Mordenkainen. I like all these spells a lot. I'm gonna get rid of Command the Storm, that might be greedy. But with a draw 2 coming up next turn, the odds of us going land 7, Elemental Masterpiece, land 8, 8 mana Spotter Thopter are pretty good, I feel. Actually just gonna let Mordenkainen take 2, because he's got a +2 ability. So he'll be fine. We don't need to ultimate Mordenkainen for him to absolutely win the game for us. There's land 7. There's land 8. Drop the Boreal Elemental then, and confirm these 2 plays. Hit for 2 instead of 1, I guess? Oh, not if they have a Cosmos Charger. Pretty solid rare. 3/3 Flash Flyer just finds a free kill and then starts getting some evasive damage in. Oh wow, into Run Ashore? They deal 5 to Mordenkainen, he's still alive. But the Run Ashore to kill both of our 4/4s permanently? Pretty nasty as well.
You have my full attention.
Amplifier bounce their token seems solid. But then I don't have a flyer for Mordenkainen.
Leave me be. I'm reading.
I don't have enough mana to do what I want to do here. Which is bounce something with Amplifier and drop a flyer. So Mordenkainen is probably finally going to die. Because I feel like whatever we cast here is probably going to get interacted with. I guess if I amplify the token, then if their response is like a bounce spell or a removal spell of their own, Mordenkainen is alive at 1 loyalty. But if I play any of my other cards and then they have like 1 bounce or removal spell, Mordenkainen will die. So this way they have to be able to buff their charger or cast a burn spell at Mordenkainen specifically. They can't just get rid of my blocker. I suppose I could have also played Spotterthopter and Muse Drake to play around. Like 1 bounce spell, 1 burn spell. Okay. Keep doing our thing.
The entire multiverse is mine.
8 mana, 8 mana. Use Drake, Spellgorger, and Silver Raven. Let's do that. Now I do poke for 1. Mystic Retrieval, the run out of town back. Bounce the Silver Raven. Fine to redraw it. So they have the mana to do that again. They flash this back and then run out of town again. So I need to have 2 flying blockers. I guess I don't, because Mordenkainen's going to be at 5.
Maintaining balance requires insight.
But I'd like to have 2 of them. They probably bounce the Spotterthopter. Alright, there's 2 different ways to kill their flyer now, and then an admonition to bounce it later. Big old Scry 4. They're down to 7. Might even just kill them next turn, throwing an Igneous Inspiration at their face for 3 damage. Oh, that's right. There's the Run Aground as well that they have exactly enough mana to do. But they are going to scoop them up. Because even if they do that to get both my flyers out of the way, they don't quite kill Mordenkainen, and then they take another 3 on the crackback, and it's all in all just not a good time for our opponent. Mordenkainen just being a completely gross magic card that game. We are now 4-1, basically at the break-even point in terms of prizes, getting 1,400 gems, and one of the cool things about the set, if you like getting a variety of random cards, is that our prize packs are going to be random, non-standard sets on Arena, so a bunch of stuff that we haven't opened up in quite a while, so pretty spicy potential prizes here now at 4-1 as we head into round number 6. There we are with Mordenkainen in the opening hand again. This could be an awkward hand, seeing as we have Mordenkainen and a 7-drop, but if I just aggressively cycle away the Masterpiece for a treasure token, we should be fine. I have the Burning Hands for their first aggro dork. Now I even have a Skewer for their next play. Just try to Mordenkainen all the way to victory again and see how well that works out for us. Hopefully we can protect Mordenkainen well enough with whatever we draw. So Warden of the Chained. That doesn't do anything till they have another creature with power 4 or greater. So I'm actually not going to kill it. I'm just going to hang out for now. Just Burning Hands their next creature, if we can. Okay, I can't Burning Hands that because it's not a green creature. Aye, it's Anya as well, which was one of the biggest bombs in Crimson Vow. They can sack any creatures or blood tokens to drain us for 2 life. That's super gross. Okay, well, I guess we gotta kill the Warden so that doesn't hit us. But Anya is still nasty. 4 mana, 4/5 plus a bunch of life drain. Incredibly good rate. So we're gonna discard Masterpiece now so we can play Mordenkainen next turn, but it's not gonna be enough to get through an Anya. Devkarn Dissident. Don't have the mana to buff it, but they do have the mana to sack it if I try to skewer it. If I Mordenkainen now, he's just gonna die. So I guess we drop the Boreal Elemental. So we have some defenses. Not that it's a good defense, because the Dissident can get buffed to be treated as a 4/4 essentially. We might be getting got here. Anya's just super big for her mana cost. And again, that life drain is going to be rough. Put us down to 14. Down to 8 now. And they have a 6/6 as well. Pretty gross. Make a dog, it's an 8/8 if I do nothing else. Elemental's literally just a chump blocker. All of their creatures are 4/4 or bigger, basically. But if I send in the Elemental to Skewer, then I play Skewer and Mordenkainen, which means I need to play the land to do both, which means that Skewer, Island, Mordenkainen are gone, so the dog would be a 4/4, which is also just a chump blocker, so I can't... Got no way to have 2 creatures big enough to kill their attackers. They might just have us here. So I'm just gonna make a dog. But I think we've just gotten got, because even if I completely lock up the board, Anya can just sack their whole board and kill us. They just need 4 other creatures. They already have 2 of them. That's already 4 total life drain locked in. Actually, we're already just dead on board if we don't kill Anya. So we have to try to block and kill Anya with our 8/8 dog. And chump block the Flourishing Hunter. Otherwise, if one creature gets in for 4 damage, Anya can sack the other 2 and we die. So there's so many things that can kill us here. Yep. We die if we don't kill Anya. This is our best block, because now they can't even, like, sack the Hunter to get extra damage in, or else they only deal 6. Or not even 6, they still only deal 4. They didn't attack Mordenkainen, so Anya's gone, and we're gonna have 2 8/8 dogs? Get rid of the Dissident. They need 2 removal spells to get through the dogs. I think I want to keep them as 8/8s so they could block a Flourishing Hunter without dying. They've got 1 mana up. How are they gonna... Uh-oh, shock? They're gonna double burn spell me. They were looking at the dog. I was like, how is How are they going to get rid of a dog for 1 red or green mana at instant speed? But it was just a shock for my face. I got an active treason or something to steal a dog? Oh, Searing Barrage. Deal 5 to it and 3 to my face. Alright. Really close, actually, in the end. Obviously, the life totals weren't close at all. But if they didn't have that much burn in their hand, that was not enough damage to kill the dogs themselves, and they just can't get through if they can't kill these dogs, so... If I played a little more defensively, maybe I could have stopped 1 damage at some point. I don't recall a time that I could have done that easily, but I think we were really like 2 life from maybe stabilizing that game. It all depends on if they have more burn in their deck, which is incredibly RNG dependent in this format. But that was the majority of their burn, to where they just have like 1 more burn spell in their deck. And had we had like 2 more life, we start going crazy with Mordenkainen from that turn on, because we do the draw 2, put 1 back, start going like E2 Chronicler, pick up one of these things, probably the Masterpiece, have just an incredible wall of defenses and start attacking for like 10 with a dog every turn while leaving up 4 or 5 blockers. Probably would have only taken 3 or 4 turns to kill them, so if they didn't have the burn to immediately kill us there, or if we had like 2 more life, we probably could have gotten there, so maybe there was a more defensive line somewhere that kept us high enough. Because again, 3, 4 more turns, I think we completely flipped that game into just killing them with a dog in just a few swings, thanks to the Elemental Masterpiece in the grave to return and cast that and wall everything up with Mordenkainen drawing extra cards. So, despite it not looking close at all in terms of life total, I'm still going to count that as basically a really close game all around. Uh-oh, turn 1 Ashnod, that card is great. If they get to late game where they have multiple creatures in their grave, they just have a mana sink, 5 mana, make a 3/3 over and over again. So we're going to just skewer that, but we don't have to skewer it until... No, come on. We don't have to skewer it until we have Spellgorger Weird on board. We don't have to skewer it until they have 5 mana total, so I'm going to wait till I have the Weird out. But of course they have the freebooter, just exile our removal spell anyway, which is pretty frustrating. Hand disruption is always pretty annoying. Everyone hates getting turn 1 thought seized. Wow, they've got the shock right in time. Right on time, I should say. For the Spellgorger Weird before it gets any bigger. They know my hand, they know I can't do anything till I hit a 5th mana. Burning Hands and get back our Skewer. They dump all their mana into Thalit, I burned that away instead. Frostlink's here. It's 5 mana to use that. I think I just need to kill Ashnod immediately so they don't get any 3/3s. But I definitely don't like that the freebooter's just holding on to my Skewer. But I'm gonna let it hold on. Yeah. Keep them from getting free 3/3s. They cost them mana, but they don't cost them any cards. Liliana's Elite. Kind of beefy. We've killed a couple creatures here. Okay, now we can Frostlinks and tap the Elite down. Just keep taking 1 a turn. Gonna have to draw super well here because we've been 2 for 1 by the freebooter. And we're flooding out a little. Amplifier's something. I don't think Amplifier's enough. If I had 1 more mana, it would be, where I can bounce the freebooter and cast the Skewer immediately, but now I would just bounce the freebooter, they replay and get my Skewer again. So I either just bounce the Ogre or don't do anything with it. I guess I'm far enough on the back foot, I kind of have to just bounce the ogre. Now I've got a double block for Liliana's Elite. So that can't hit me, so I just take 1 damage in the sky. Ogre's back. Yep, just take our 1 damage in the sky, hit another land. Pass turn. I hate them getting treasures because they're on the all gas hand here. We know that they've drawn 4 lands all game when we've drawn 8. So they've got 4 spells in their hand minimum. That's if they top decked a land this turn. Otherwise, it's 5 spells in hand. Where those treasures are going to let them dump their hand so quickly. But if I don't trade with the Liliana's Elite now, it's going to be too big to ever trade into later. Yeah, I mean, this sucks, but I think I have to kill Ogre. And they could just have instant speed combat, trick, or removal, and then it doesn't matter. Gross. That's hilarious. Alright. Bummer way to end it again. Getting a couple losses in a row in the end. Always a rough time, but we did get a positive record this time around. We are 4-3, pretty much breaking even on prizes, and more wins than losses with this deck, which I will certainly take. I think that's certainly pretty reasonable. Lost to some pretty explosive cards today. Won with some pretty explosive cards too, so it was all kind of just karmic justice overall. Dying to some spooky Anya style stuff. So overall, I think the deck played out pretty solidly. I think 4-3 is a reasonable record for it. Would have liked to win a little bit more. 5-3, 6-3, somewhere in there is where I'd be pretty happy with this deck. But 4-3 is not bad at all. There's certainly some filler cards that don't work super well in our archetype, like the Armguard Familiar mainly, but it did help in one of those games. And I don't think there was anything like incredibly bad in here. Just some stuff that's a little more on the mediocre level. But our super powerful cards like Mordenkainen, Elemental Masterpiece, all these burn spells really kind of made up for it. Made it a pretty solid deck overall, with a 4-3 run getting us 1,400 gems, 2 packs of Guilds of Ravnica, and a pack of Core Set 2021. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the videos. If you'd like to see some more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link or the join button below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.